Welcome back to my channel. It's been a few weeks now. I've only managed to get one video out in January. It was a very weird month for me. I'm not entirely sure why, but it was. Anyway, this last few weeks I've been colouring in a very old sketchbook from about 3-4 years ago, if not longer. I'm going through a whole phase of finishing off some older pieces, older work, older collections. We're going to talk about it all in a minute. Anyway, thank you for tuning in again. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in a sec. This sketchbook is from 2018. It is the usual Daler Rowney. It's an A5 one, and it's the paper's pretty good. I'm not entirely certain what it is. I forgot to write that down, but it's the usual kind of stuff that I use, so you can sort of research back if that's important to you. What I used on it was a mixture of just fine liners and pro markers and watercolor pencils. I don't really get too fussy when it comes to sort of what I use within the sketchbooks. I am going to branch out into gouache, but right now I'm just sticking to what I know and what's simple and what's quick, especially for this project. Now, some of you will know that I use sketchbooks like visual diaries. They're just where I collect my thoughts. I scribble down ideas for the day. I'm not really too precious about what goes in them, although I do get precious about finishing them off, which is why when a sketchbook is how I see it as undone or uncompleted, it kind of bothers me. And this brings me to one of the subjects I want to talk about today, which is unfinished work. Now, to be honest, some of my work can be completely unfinished, and I am totally okay with it never ever seeing the light of day. And then some of my work, it's like it haunts me and it follows me, and I can't, it just tickles at the back of my creative brain until it wants to be finished. And this tiny sketchbook from 2018 was one of those projects. It just sort of lingered. No matter how often I put it away, it kept turning up in random places, so I knew it had to be done. The work within it, not really particularly my best. I do like some of the ideas, and I think I can maybe turn them into something else at a bit of a later date. And I do think at the time I did this sketchbook, I think if I go back far enough in my Instagram, I made a few paintings out of some of them, although I'm not entirely certain. I know I did with 2 of them, but there we go. But anyway, these yeah, these are just pretty simple pieces, and they're not really what I would consider my best work, but they're just, like all sketchbooks, places where ideas begin. So I'm not going to judge myself too harshly on them. As for unfinished work, it really comes down to the artist, and if I'm going to offer any kind of insight from my 20-odd years of making art, off and on, of course, it's that you should really stick to the projects that are, or at least have some emotional value for you as an artist. If they're going to have some sort of tactical, I'm trying to find the good word for this, pragmatic view of developing your skill set. I think those are the 2 things I fall on. Is my heart in it, and will I be a better artist by the end of it? If I'm having trouble deciding on which of my old projects to finish off, those 2. And this one, I don't think there's much sort of skill development within it, but it definitely has pieces of a time in my life that were quite difficult, and even though you might not be able to read them and I might not be able to read them, I have the memories of the time they were drawn, so that's where they come from. Ooh, she's a cute one. I kind of forgot about her. Yeah, so I think those are the 2 guiding principles if you are going to make some, go through all your old work and decide which ones are going to be finished off or which ones can go in the bin, although I'm not a big fan of throwing out work. I would suggest you use those 2 metrics to decide which of your pieces kind of reach their completion date, and also you get to decide what complete actually means. So for me, complete when it comes to sketchbooks is that every page has some sort of color. Everything I've started in it, I've finished, which leaves no drawing sort of half done or half colored in. It needs to be done to a standard that feels like it is quote unquote done. But again, that's up to you. For me, it's making sure these characters had some sort of finished, complete style amongst them. I wanted to make sure that they were, I don't know, a character doesn't feel properly alive until I've at least painted or coloured in the eyes. In a sketchbook tour I did for Inktober 2019 maybe, all I did was a black and white ink, but I did have to colour in the eyes. The sketches look too dead almost until I've done some shading there. But again, that's artist to artist. It's entirely up to you. I wanted to get this done because, like I said, it was haunting me, and I have a stack of other sketchbooks I have to work through after this. I think I literally have about 8 of them. 3 or 4 of them are from 2020, because we all know what that year was. And it just... I started quite a few sketchbooks to keep up with drawing challenges and got like 10 drawings into most of them and didn't finish any of them. But yeah, so that's kind of what that was. This is the first one in a list of many. As for what I'm going to do with these sketches afterwards, I'm not entirely certain. I'm really not. I do think they might make nice stickers, especially her. She might be a good sticker. Or postcards, but I'm not going to pretend I'm not a particularly well-known artist, and my work isn't exactly setting people on fire right now, but I do, like I said, I love what I do, and I'm going to keep turning up anyway. I want to make 2023 a year where I dedicate myself more to the practice of my art and just showing up and sharing. Even if it's just to a small audience, I can still love you as much as I can love anybody else, and I think that's kind of where I'm starting this year off. So yeah, if you want to keep, if you have any ideas of what I can do for these, I think maybe postcards might be a good idea for some of them. But again, not all of them are my favorite or what I consider my best work. Some I might develop into some paintings at a later date, but these are literally catching ideas. I think actually these might be part of a challenge I set myself at that time to draw, or at least capture the idea of a character, like maybe 2 per night or 3 per night, sketching in bed. So that's why there's not a huge amount of detail with them. They just have they do have their own stories and little things I was trying to tell with them at the time, so they do have that. But again, like I said, I'm not overly caught up in them. I do like some of them, and I do think some of them have the ability to reach beyond the sketchbook. But as for now, I'm totally happy with them being where they are. This is the first in a line of an incomplete works that I hope to finish this year. So yeah, here they are. She's drinking her tea, which is pretty much all I do, drink tea and read books. Anyway, yeah, I think this is the last one from this sketchbook, and now to a few close-ups. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. It was fun for me. If you want to see any of these, check my Instagram. I'm going to start uploading a few of them because it's old work. I haven't been really putting too many of them online. Dog's hairs in my face. But yeah, so have a little check at that. Also, if you have any ideas for products, if you want to see them stickers or postcards, if there's enough interest, I'll get a batch done. Other than that, thank you for tuning in again. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check me out on all the socials, and I shall see you again next week.